He called me trash for being a maid's daughter, so I exposed his disgusting secret.
Have you ever been completely humiliated by someone who thought they were better than you? Well, I have, and the revenge was sweeter than I ever expected. Grab your coffee, watch me paint, and listen to how I put an arrogant man in his place.
I've never liked Dr. Sterling. Actually, dislike is a huge understatement. He was the poster child for what people call hitting the genetic lottery. Tall, perfectly messy hair, a smile straight out of a toothpaste commercial, and most importantly, filthy rich. He was a top-tier plastic surgeon living in a mansion where the air literally smelled like crisp $100 bills and freshly mowed lawn. He was the kind of guy who treated anyone he considered below him with a freezing mix of indifference and pure steak knife contempt. To him, I wasn't Chloe, the 20-year-old law student pulling 18-hour days. I was just Sonia's girl. I was an accessory to an invisible person. My mom, the housekeeper who scrubbed his floors 3 times a week. My mom was my entire world. She was a powerhouse, tough, hardworking, with calloused hands from raising me on her own. She always told me to be patient, to swallow my pride, because we desperately needed the DRS paycheck. But Sterling seemed to have a radar for my presence. If I was helping my mom fold towels, he'd walk by and drop a cutting remark about how the future of the country was wasting time on domestic chores. If I was sitting on the porch studying for my bar exam while waiting for my mom to finish, he'd pull up in his $200,000 sports car and ask, with a voice dripping in irony, if I was sure I didn't prefer a more manual career path, since I seemed born for it. I would bite my tongue until I tasted blood. He was a master at hitting the soft spots, the places where social inequality hurts the most. He went out of his way to make me feel dirty. But the universe, my friends, has a dark, twisted sense of humor. And that humor manifested in a secret that only my mom and I knew. A secret that dissolved his arrogance into something revolting. It all started with the laundry. My mom was in charge of washing and pressing all of Dr. Sterling's clothes. Suddenly, the routine changed. He bought a massive new batch of underwear. High-end, designer, all-white trunks. He obsessed over them. He demanded they be washed with a specific organic detergent, steamed, and stacked in his drawer with military precision. At first, it was standard. But after a few weeks, I noticed my mom muttering under her breath while sorting the laundry. "Chloe, look at this," she called out one day, pointing to the hamper. Right on top was a pair of those white designer trunks. But they weren't white. At least, not in the back. There was a streak. A brown, unmistakable streak. A stain that, to anyone with basic knowledge of human anatomy and hygiene, was a total biohazard. It was poop. And it wasn't a one-time accident. It was persistent. "Mom, what is that?" I asked, caught between being grossed out and totally confused. "It's Dr. Sterling," my mom whispered, rolling her eyes. "He doesn't wipe, honey. He just doesn't. They are all like this, day after day." I laughed. I laughed so hard I had to lean against the washing machine. Dr. Sterling, the elite surgeon with the steady hands who refined people's faces for a living, the man who treated me like garbage, didn't know how to wipe his own backside. The irony was a masterpiece. The man who saw my hard work and my dignity as something low and dirty was the one walking around with stained underwear. My mom, with the grace only a lifetime of hard work gives you, just cleaned it. She scrubbed, she used bleach, she boiled the water. It was a daily battle against a millionaire's skid marks. "Doesn't he notice?" I asked, thinking it had to be in fluke. "He notices," my mom said, her voice exhausted. "But he thinks it's his job to pay me so I can do his part of the job. Yesterday, he actually asked if I was keeping up with the standard of whiteness for his underwear. Like it was a soap problem, not a hygiene problem." The hatred I felt for him started to shift. It turned into a secret, magical satisfaction. Knowing how filthy he actually was gave me an invisible power over him. Weeks turned into months. The skid mark pattern became a lifestyle. He bought more white underwear, and every single pair came back with the same evidence of his disgusting habits. Seeing those brown stains became my small, silent act of revenge. The peak of my misery happened during one of our classic interactions. I was watering the porch plants, a favor for my mom because her back was aching, when he stepped out, wearing a silk shirt and expensive linen trousers. "Chloe," he said, using that tone where he made my name sound like a slur. "Still reading those legal fantasies?" He pointed his toe toward my tax law textbook, making sure not to actually touch it. I shut the book, my hand shaking with rage. "They aren't fantasies, Dr. Sterling. They are my future." He laughed. A dry, nasty sound. "A future? You actually think you're going to sit at the same table as people like me? Look at you, Chloe. You smell like generic detergent. You're part of the furniture, sweetie. Know your place." In that moment, something snapped. I couldn't scream. I couldn't curse him out. But I could respond in a way his tiny, arrogant mind would never grasp. I smiled. A small, mysterious smile that didn't reach my eyes. "You're right, Dr. Sterling," I said, looking directly at a tiny coffee stain on his silk tie. "I do smell like detergent because I actually know how cleaning works. And I know that no matter how much money you spend, if you don't handle the basic hygiene, the dirt always comes back. And sometimes, it leaves a permanent brown stain." His smile faltered. He flicked his eyebrows, confused. "What?" "Nothing, doctor," I replied, my voice smooth as silk. "I'm just saying that, at the end of the day, the dirt never lies. It's proof that not every problem can be fixed with plastic surgery or $100 bill." I picked up my watering can and walked away, leaving him standing there. He just stared, his expression flickering between outrage and a hint of, was that fear? It was like he finally smelled it. Not the soap, but the stain he tried to hide with all that money. His ego was too big to accept the humiliating truth. The trashy smell he was sensing was coming from his own designer boxes. Fast forward, I graduated. Honors, sharp suit, the whole deal. The next day, I started at a small but hungry law firm focused on social justice. I was on cloud 9. I was finally on the path to proving Sterling wrong. My mom cried happy tears and insisted on a small, warm celebration at our place. The only problem? Sterling's mansion was just a few blocks away from my new life. And like I said, the universe has a wicked sense of humor. 2 weeks into my new job, I went to the mall during lunch to buy a pair of professional heels. I was in the high-end department store, browsing the leather section, when I heard that voice. That smooth, arrogant drawl that made my skin crawl. "Well, look at this." A budget-breaking surprise. I turned around, and there he was, Dr. Sterling, with his trophy girlfriend, a blonde model who looked like she'd been airbrushed into existence. He was smirking condescendingly, wearing a blazer that probably cost more than my car. I tried to keep it professional. "Good afternoon, Dr. Sterling." "Excuse me." He stepped right in front of me, blocking my path. His girlfriend just scrolled on her phone, looking bored out of her mind. "Excuse you?" No, wait. "Let me guess," he said, gesturing to the shoes in my hand. "Shopping for the new job? Some reception desk, maybe? Or did you finally realize that law is for people born in mansions, not the ones who scrub them?" My face hit boiling point. People started to turn and look. The sales clerk stopped mid-sentence. The stage was set. "I'm an attorney, Dr. Sterling," I said, trying to keep my voice steady despite the lump in my throat. He burst out laughing. It was loud, offensive, and made his girlfriend roll her eyes. "An attorney? Please, Chloe. Stop delusional. You can take the girl out of the laundry room, but you can't take the laundry room out of the girl. You'll always be the housekeeper's daughter. You'll always smell like cheap soap, even if you're drenched in Chanel." He leaned in, and I caught a whiff of his expensive minty breath. "And frankly, darling, you just don't have the pedigree. Go back to your reality. Better yet, if you're that desperate for cash, call my mother. She needs someone to deep clean her beach house. At least you'd be doing something you're actually good at." The air was sucked out of my lungs. His words were daggers. He had reached into the core of all my hard work and turned my life into a joke. Tears of rage threatened to spill, but I refused to give him the satisfaction. "Thanks for the advice, doctor," I whispered, my voice thick. I couldn't think of a comeback. I just turned and walked out, leaving the shoes behind, feeling the heavy stares of pity on my back. I got home and collapsed. My mom found me sobbing in the kitchen, and I told her everything. She hugged me tight. "He's a small man, Chloe. Small and empty," she said. "No, Mom," I sobbed. "He made me feel small. And he used you to do it." That night, I couldn't sleep. I replayed the scene over and over. The humiliation. The disrespect. And then, I remembered the one thing he couldn't control. The one thing that was truly disgusting about him. The brown secret. And I had the receipts. Weeks before I quit, my mom, bless her, had shown me something. She was so sick of being treated like dirt that, in a moment of pure frustration, she had taken photos. Dozens of them. High-resolution photos. Of his drawers. His underwear. The stains. Sterling was obsessed with purity and whiteness. He had stacks of white trunks, perfectly folded. And my mom, with the precision of a spy, had snapped photos of those freshly washed, but permanently stained, boxes before folding them, with the designer tags clearly visible. In some, she even did close-ups, the brown streak being the only thing breaking his obsessive-compulsive pattern of perfection. I went to the encrypted folder on my laptop. There they were, the hygiene failure files. I looked at them. They were repulsive. They were the ultimate proof of his hypocrisy. He was the dirty one. The slob who couldn't handle basic adulthood. And I, the lowly daughter, was the one who had to deal with his literal and figurative filth. An idea hit me like a lightning bolt. If he wanted a stage to humiliate me, I was going to give him the biggest stage on earth. The internet. I sat down and started editing. This wasn't just a video. It was a manifesto. It had to be cinematic. It had to be lethal. It had to go viral. Scene 1, slow, beautiful classical music. Text on screen. To everyone who's ever been looked down on for working hard. This one's for you. Scene 2, me, talking to the camera. I stayed calm, my voice steady but heavy with emotion. I told the story of him humiliating me at the mall. I didn't name him yet, I just called him a high-profile plastic surgeon known for his ego. I talked about how he called me the help and told me I smelled like cheap soap. Scene 3, the beat drops. The music turns dark, intense suspense. I looked dead into the lens. He said I smelled like soap because I was busy cleaning his world. He was right. I did clean it. But what he didn't realize is that the foulest, most persistent filth wasn't on his floors. Scene 4. The reveal, a rapid-fire, true crime-style montage. One photo after another. The designer white boxes. The close-ups of the brown streaks. The luxury labels next to the organic biohazard. The contrast was nauseating. Bold captions flashed. The millionaire surgeon who can't wipe. The hygiene standards of the man who thinks you're trash. I posted it everywhere. TikTok, X, Instagram. The title was a pipe bomb. He humiliated me for being a housekeeper's daughter? Wait until you see what I had to clean off him. #Dr. Arrogance, #designer skid marks. The explosion was instant. Within 30 minutes, 50K views. 1 hour, 500K. By dinner time, it was the only thing the internet was talking about. The comments were savage. This is the grossest thing I've ever seen, and he thinks he is superior. I thought he was Mr. Perfect. I'm literally gagging. The irony is delicious. The housekeeper has more dignity than the doctor. Someone recognized the department store background, and within hours, the internet detectives found him. Dr. Sterling and his elite aesthetics clinic were tossed into a digital bonfire. People flooded his business page with 1-star reviews. I wouldn't trust a surgeon who can't even manage his own sphincters and hope he cleans his surgical tools better than his own backside. The Peak? A major celebrity gossip portal, the kind he used to pay for lifestyle features, called my firm for an interview. My boss was shocked at first, but once he saw the numbers, he gave me his full support. The laundry files outshone the sun. 2 days later, Sterling was in total ruin. His high-end clients were canceling surgeries in droves. His country club friends stopped picking up his calls. The #DrSkidmark was trending worldwide. Then came the cease and desist from his lawyers, threatening to sue me for defamation and privacy violation. I actually laughed while reading it. Defamation? You can't defame someone with the truth. These were facts, not opinions. Privacy? He used a public mall to humiliate me and expose my family's private struggles. I simply revealed what he was hiding under his expensive linen pants. If you create the filth, you don't get to complain when the person cleaning it points it out. I posted a final update, a short clip of me handing the legal threat to my boss. The caption, "His trying to sue me for showing the truth. Let's see who comes out cleaner. My job is fighting for justice. His? Apparently, it's staining silk and bullying women." The story wasn't about the laundry anymore. It was about class, ego, and the epic revenge of the invisible worker. Dr. Sterling lost his contracts, his reputation, and his perfect life. His toothpaste commercial smile turned into a permanent grimace of shame. And me? I'm still an attorney. The laundry scandal gave me a platform I never could have bought. The irony is perfect. He tried to bury me because I was the help, and I used the very job he despised to dismantle his entire world. The smell of laundry soap? That's the smell of my success now. And that other smell? Well, that's his problem. And his toilet papers.
Help me hype up this video if you want to see more content like this. Every comment and subscribe helps this channel grow. I put a lot of love into both the story and the art, so I hope you stick around. See you in the next one.